They told her not to answer. But curiosity is louder than fear.
They say time only moves forward. That no matter how badly you want to, you can't hear what tomorrow has to say about you. But that night, when Emily's phone rang at exactly 12:01 a.m., she swore the voice on the other end was her own. Just a day older. And she was screaming. Emily was 29, a nurse. Practical, logical. She didn't believe in ghost stories, didn't chase superstitions. But the sound of her own panicked voice whispering, "Don't go to work tomorrow. Please, you'll regret it," was enough to make her blood run cold. She tried to laugh it off. A prank, a recording. But the next night, the phone rang again. 12:01. Same voice. Same number that didn't exist, only this time. It told her someone would die. The calls didn't stop, every night. Always at 12:01. No ringtone, just that low, pulsing vibration echoing in her silent apartment, loud enough to make her heart skip every time. Sometimes it was warnings, sometimes it was begging, and sometimes it was screaming so violently that Emily had to rip the phone from her ear, her hands shaking as if the sound itself could burn her skin. At first, she tried ignoring it. She silenced her phone. She left it in another room. She even turned it off, battery out, SIM card gone. But still at 12:01, the vibration would return. Even when the phone was shut down, even when it was brand new. Always from unknown, always her voice. The voice never repeated itself word for word. Each night, it grew more frantic, more detailed. "Don't wear the blue coat tomorrow. Don't get on the elevator. He's watching you at the bus stop." Emily stopped sleeping. She sat up in bed with the lights on, her phone on the nightstand, dreading the moment the numbers on the digital clock flipped to 12:01. Her best friend, Rachel, begged her to see a doctor. "It's stress, lack of sleep, hallucinations maybe. You're a nurse, you know what insomnia does to people." Emily wanted to believe her. God, she wanted to. But how could she explain the accident? That morning, she'd been late leaving for her shift. She rushed across the intersection, ignoring the little red light. And in that very moment, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Against every instinct, she answered, and heard her own frantic voice whisper, "Red light. Don't cross." She froze mid-step. And within seconds, a car came hurtling through, drunk driver at the wheel, missing her by inches. If she hadn't answered, she would have been dead. It wasn't just coincidence anymore. It was a countdown. The voice knew. It always knew, but the knowledge came at a cost. Because the more Emily obeyed, the darker the warnings became. "Don't sit in the break room tomorrow. The coffee isn't safe. Don't talk to the man in the elevator. He isn't who he says he is. Don't let Rachel come over tonight." That last one broke her. Why not Rachel? Her only friend, the only one who believed at least some of what she was going through. Why would the voice warn her about Rachel? Her phone buzzed again at 12:01. She hesitated. Sweat dripping down her temple. The air heavy, oppressive, like someone else was breathing beside her in the dark. Slowly, she answered, and the voice whispered, "You don't understand. Rachel won't be Rachel anymore. Tomorrow." One night, the voice didn't sound like her. It was lower, rougher, male, like gravel dragged across broken glass. It said slow and deliberate, "You can't stop what's coming. The end is already written." Her hands trembled so violently, she almost dropped the phone. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice cracking. The line hissed with static, and then her own voice returned. But this time it was broken, distorted, terrified, whispering, as if pressed right against the receiver. "He's in the room." Emily's blood ran cold. She spun around so fast her chair tipped over and clattered against the hardwood. The apartment looked the same, her small lamp casting a dim yellow pool of light across the couch. The silent TV screen reflecting her pale face, the still air pressing against her ears. Nothing moved. No shadows shifted. No one was there. And yet her nose caught it. A smell that didn't belong. Cigarettes. Sharp. Acrid. Fresh. Emily gagged. She hadn't smoked a day in her life, and no one she knew had been inside that apartment in weeks. The odor clung heavy to the air, thick as if someone had just exhaled a cloud of smoke beside her ear. Her skin prickled. She set the phone down slowly, forcing herself to breathe, telling herself it was her imagination. Maybe it drifted in from the neighbors, maybe. But when she glanced toward her front door, the security chain was unlatched. She knew she had locked it. Her legs buckled beneath her, and she pressed her back against the wall, whispering to herself, "It's fine. It's fine. It's just me. It's just me." The phone, still on the floor, crackled again. This time no voice, just breathing, slow, wet, heavy. Like someone crouched close, too close, holding the receiver between their lips. Emily's teeth chattered. Her hand hovered inches from the phone, frozen in indecision. Then, faintly layered under the breathing, her own whisper bled through again. "He's still here." Sleep became impossible. Every time Emily closed her eyes, she heard echoes of that ringtone inside her skull, like phantom vibrations humming against her pillow. She started keeping a journal on her nightstand, scribbling down every call, every word, every sound, every warning, as if documenting it might give her some control. Her handwriting grew messier with each passing night, the ink smeared by her trembling hands. She circled words, drew arrows, added timestamps. It looked less like a journal and more like the diary of someone unraveling. On the 12th night, the message was chillingly clear. The voice whispered, "Don't open the door." And then, as if on cue, 3 sharp raps echoed through her apartment at 12:03 a.m. Knock, knock. Emily froze, her pen dropping from her hand. She didn't move, didn't breathe. Whoever it was, didn't leave. She could feel them waiting, a weight in the silence pressing against her chest. Minutes stretched like hours. Her heart thundered so hard, she thought it might burst. Finally silence. At dawn, she crept toward the door and pressed her eye to the peephole. Nothing. Empty hallway. But when she pulled up her hallway camera footage on her phone, her stomach turned to ice. From midnight until sunrise. The footage was nothing but static. Rachel noticed her decline. Her pale face. The dark hollows under her eyes. The way her hands shook even in daylight. One evening, Rachel staged an intervention. She begged Emily to come stay at her place, at least for a few nights. "This isn't healthy," Rachel said, her voice trembling with real fear. "You're isolating yourself. You're not safe here." But Emily couldn't stop. She needed answers. She needed to know who was calling, and why her. The more she thought about it, the more obsessed she became. She began spreading the journal pages across her floor, connecting words with red thread, pinning them to her wall like a detective tracking the killer. Dates, warnings, voices, and one question scrawled again and again in the margins, in all caps as if shouting at her from the page, "What happens tomorrow?" That night, her phone rang again. 12:01. She answered with shaking hands. This time the voice didn't whisper. It didn't warn. It only laughed. On the 20th night, the call was different. The voice didn't warn, didn't beg, it just wept. And between sobs it whispered, "You can't change it. You tried, you failed. And tomorrow you die." Emily screamed into the phone. "Tell me how, tell me who. Tell me why." But the voice broke into static, then laughter. Her own laughter. She barely slept. Every creak of the apartment made her jump. Every shadow stretched too long. At 11:59, she held the phone in her hand, waiting. 12:01. The ring came. She answered, silence, and then the sound of her own last breath, choking, gurgling. The phone fell from her trembling hand. And then came the knock. The next morning, Rachel came by to check on her. The apartment door was unlocked, The phone lay shattered on the floor. And Emily was gone. No trace, no sign of struggle. Just one thing left on her nightstand. Her journal, open to the last page. 4 words, scrawled in her handwriting. Don't answer tomorrow's call. Pause, fade voice lower, but last week. Rachel's phone rang. 12:01. Unknown number. And when she answered, it was Emily's voice.